G'day everybody, how are you going today? It is so very good to see you. We have some massive news in the photography industry today, and this is the Sony A Alpha 1. This does look like an absolutely feature-packed stills and 8K video camera. Amazing. And what this does is it lands a camera at the same tier as the Canon R5. What I would like to talk about in this video is we will talk a little bit about the numbers, but really more I want to talk about how this fits with Canon and how it fits with Nikon. It's a very clear laying down of the gauntlet as to where Nikon needs to arrive sometime in 2021 with the Z8. So let's talk about what Sony have done here. So yes, the specs are high, and that's absolutely fantastic. Everybody loves to have the fastest Ferrari, so we can get excited about that. Things like 8K, which doesn't overheat for up to 30 minutes if you set it in its most tolerant mode. I'm sure there's some caveats around that, but still 30 minutes of 8K is an amazing effort. We've got raw internal 4K. We've got 50 megapixels at up to 30 frames per second. These are some blistering numbers. And this is the photography industry. The R5 was an absolutely, and still is, by the way, an astonishing camera, an amazing camera that does all sorts of firsts in its time. 8K full sensor, 45 megapixels at 20 frames per second. These were all amazing numbers. But as Sony does, and Sony are very good at this, and kudos to them for it, they have upped the ante by going 5 more megapixels and going, I think it's 10 frames per second faster, and giving longer 8K recording times. These are some of the headline features. What also is very exciting to see is that Sony has put their new menu systems in here. I presume we're getting the same color science from the A7S III. There's a lot to be excited about. Now, there's absolutely no question at all that this is a flagship camera. It is $6,500 US, whereas the R5 right now, when I look it up today on B&H, is $3,899 US. So it is almost half the price. Now, I don't think it's twice the camera, but I'm not interested in getting into that sort of discussion. This is a flagship camera, and it comes with a flagship price. You'll be paying for something that has everything, including the kitchen sink. It's got it all. An amazing camera. So what does this mean for Nikon? The R5 was where we thought Nikon would aim with the Z8, and that's fine. And this camera is, I wouldn't say it's a full step above, but what it's done, the Alpha 1 has refined what we've seen in the R5, improved on it, tweaked on it, and pushed the specs a little bit further. So where does Nikon sit with all of this? I would have thought Nikon might land somewhere in the middle of all of this. A camera that will have similar photographic specs to the R5, because really, in my personal opinion, who needs more than 20 frames per second in stills? Even that seems like a really high number to me. I think the megapixel count will be somewhere between the 45 and the 50, so somewhere in there. I think there's a chance that we will see some version of 8K. And as we know, Nikon use Sony chips a lot of the time, so it may well be that Nikon can achieve 8K in a similar fashion to what Sony are doing right now. But there's a divergence here, and I think this is something that people sometimes forget about, is Nikon could choose to chase the R5 all-rounder path. They could choose to do that, or Nikon could choose to chase the A7R4 60 megapixel path. I don't think they have the resources, nor is it necessary to chase both. So it's a super interesting thing that Sony and Canon have done here by creating these cameras that basically they're effectively doing both what, say, a D850 and a D6 does in one camera. They're giving you the high frame rates and the amazing focusing system, but they're also giving you high megapixels and high video specs. We are literally getting the flagship becoming one camera. So from my perspective, and I've talked about this type of camera before, and I've certainly talked about it in my comments, that like it appears Sony and Canon are doing, and just as a side note, where does this leave the A9? 1, 2, or 3? They're still fabulous cameras, that's not what I'm saying, but do they still get made? Now, there's a lot to be said for having a low megapixel, 20 megapixel camera that shoots ultra fast. I still think it has a place, but in this shrinking market, perhaps they simply make a camera that's 50 or 60 megapixels and you can take 20 megapixels from that 50 or 60 rather than making two different cameras. So could we see that the Z8, which we thought would be the high megapixel camera, actually it becomes one camera. It's a 50 megapixel odd camera. It's got the 8K. It can shoot somewhere between 20 and 30 frames per second. And it becomes actually the Z9. It becomes the flagship. And there we would have it. We would have Nikon's top of the range camera being the Z9. Sony's top of the range blistering flagship camera that can handle everything is the A1. And Canon's right now is the R5, but there is speculation that there's an R1 as well. So who knows where the naming and the numbers will end up. But there is a chance in my mind that Nikon may for now create one camera to rule them all. One camera to rule the top of the Nikon ecosystem. If that camera can be downsampled from 50 or 60 megapixels, downsampled to 20 or 25 or 30, just like Nikon have done with the past with S-RAW, I think is what it was called, where it was a small RAW file, then why not? Because these cameras ultimately are at the same price point of a D6, but they're giving you the experience of a D6, but they're also giving you this new hybrid experience of high megapixels at D6 speeds and high video specs as well to boot on top of everything else. If I was Nikon, that is the camera I would be creating. If I was Nikon, I would just be absolutely getting that out the door as fast as I can, as long as it lands somewhere around an R5, in between the R5 and the A1, then I would be more than satiated as a content creator. And again, anybody who thinks they need more than 20 frames per second is an absolute niche of 1% or less of the market. And that might be the only thing that Nikon doesn't match, is that crazy 30 frames per second. Sony Alpha 1 is here. There is no question it is an outstanding camera. No question. Nobody can deny it. And really, as we've talked about before, there's the cycle. The D850 isn't supposed to be replaced until around about the time that it was released 4 years ago, which is August, September. So Nikon have got roughly 6 months to get this new camera in our hands. But I would like to see the specs very soon, because with the R5 and the Sony A1, this is going to create a lot of noise, and Nikon need to address that noise by throwing us a bone. You know what I mean. Throw us a bone. Come on. We'd love you to throw us a bone so we can understand where we sit. So they're my thoughts. We may well have a Z9, which is an epic all-rounder like the A1 and like the R5. And in reality, if Nikon are going to stick to their 4-year cycle, it will actually be in our hands in the second half of this year. But I look forward to hearing about it soon. All right, everybody, I would love to know your thoughts. This is a massive day for the camera industry. We should all be excited. There shouldn't be any negativity out of all of this. This pushes technology forward. It puts more of everything that some people want in their hands, and it all ripples out to all the camera companies, and all of us can enjoy it. This is a positive day for everybody. Don't worry too much, because I am confident that you are still taking amazing images with the camera that you have right now. Let me know what you think. I look forward to seeing down below in the comments your thoughts on all of this. Could it be a Z9 instead of a Z8? And yes, tell me your thoughts on the A1. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. Congratulations, Sony. So great to see you. If this is your first time here, I'd love to see you again. So please do subscribe, please share, please like, and I don't know, there's almost 300 episodes now that you can watch by just clicking down there. All right, I'll see you so soon. Bye for now.